how to deal with collections issues for high net worth clients. So high net worth clients present several challenges from dealing with things from an IRS perspective. So the first challenge that you're going to have is that high net worth clients don't fall within the IRS's usual guidelines for ordinary and necessary expenses. So take, for example, San Diego. San Diego, for a single person living in San Diego, the local housing and utility standard is about $2,500 a month. So the IRS allows you $2,500 a month as a single person for your housing and utilities. And so I always play a fun exercise to see where you can get housing for a single one-bedroom apartment for $2,500 a month in San Diego, including your utilities. And the reality of the situation is you can go to Oceanside, which is 45 minutes north of here, or you can go to Tijuana, which is 45 minutes south. And those are about the only places where you're going to find $2,500 a month rent, including housing and utilities. But for high net worth clients, this presents a big problem because, number one, you're dealing with income levels that are way above the IRS's ordinary standards. So the fact of the matter is you may have somebody with an $8,000 mortgage, or a $10,000 mortgage, or a $25,000 mortgage. Just because the IRS disallows that $25,000 mortgage, or at least a large chunk of it, doesn't mean the taxpayer isn't actually paying that much for their mortgage. So there's a variety of complicated issues like that that go into representing a high net worth client. So the trick with high net worth clients is being practical about the fact that they could probably full pay the liability if the IRS asks them to. They may just be running into a temporary cash flow situation, or they may need long-term help to spread out their liability, however large it is, over a period of time. This is a relatively simple math equation. It's just about managing cash flow and convincing the government to take less based on certain lifestyle choices. And that's not a hugely complicated problem, although depending on the income level of the person we're dealing with, it does get a little technical. But the harder part of the problem is factoring in the human equation, because you're dealing a lot of times with a revenue officer or with another IRS employee who makes under $100,000 a year and lives in California. So when you're dealing with somebody who makes under $100,000 a year, and you're dealing with somebody who makes $100,000 or more a month, the income inequality and the wealth discrimination that occurs because of that makes things really challenging, because the IRS agent says, this person makes more in a month than I do in a whole year, why can't they pay their taxes? And the reality is that's slightly insensitive to the particular person's situation. In my experience, when a client has more money, their situation is more complicated. They have more moving pieces. They have more investments. They have more businesses. They have more moving parts. And so from an IRS perspective, this creates a big challenge. The biggest thing for high net worth clients is protection. You want to protect the client and their assets against the imposition of the government, or prevent the government from coming in and trying to kill the goose that lays the golden eggs. A lot of government agents haven't run businesses before. They don't have real estate investments. They don't have partnerships. They don't have a variety of things that high net worth clients have. And so from their perspective, when they see large liabilities, when they see large amounts of income, the tendency is, well, why can't they pay us, and why can't they pay us soon? So the biggest part of what we do at our firm is help translate the situation between the client and the IRS in terms the IRS can understand. Oftentimes it's not about a desire not to pay. Well, sometimes it is. But in the reality, it's more about how do we pay? How can we turn this from an adversarial relationship into a collaborative one where we're working with the revenue officer, where we're working to the government to try and accomplish the government's interest, but secondary to what the client's interests are, what their family needs, and what their ecosystem needs. And so that's the challenge with high net worth clients. If you're a high net worth person And a high net worth person can basically be described as anybody who's $20,000 a month or more in income, even if you don't consider that to be high net worth. But if you qualify within that category, then we're going to have to do a little bit of complex defense when it comes to your collections matter. Because if not, the IRS will come in, they'll mandate terms that there's no way that you can accept, and then there won't be agreement between the solution that you propose and the solution the government proposes. So I would encourage you to sit down with either me or another tax attorney, address the situation, and try and find common ground. It doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't necessarily have to be expensive, but by putting a plan in place and executing it, it's going to lead you on the path to better success and in navigating through your tax issue.